Can you imagine? In just a few minutes, China's most prosperous coastal cities disappeared from the map. Dozens of towers collapsed. Highways and giant bridges were submerged in water. This is not a science fiction movie. This is TSUNAMI 2025, a disaster that could sink the entire world economy. In this video, we will go through each terrifying moment, from the alarm sounding, the tens of meters high tsunami hitting, to the severe consequences that followed. Watch until the end to see why this disaster could change humanity. China's tsunami warning system was activated immediately after the massive earthquake was recorded off the Pacific coast. In Shanghai, a city of more than 25 million people, sirens blared across the districts. In the sky, electronic emergency screens flashed continuously. Tsunami is coming. Evacuate immediately. People poured into the streets in panic. Hundreds of thousands of vehicles crowded onto highways at the same time. Bridges leading out of the city center were immediately blocked. Traffic police shouted over loudspeakers, trying to regulate traffic, but were almost powerless against the massive crowd. In Guangzhou and Xiamen, the situation was equally chaotic. Schools rushed to evacuate students. Many families only had time to bring a few small bags of belongings, hug their children tightly, and rush toward higher ground. On national television, a reporter choked up. Ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing one of the largest emergency evacuations in modern Chinese history. Rescue forces, the military, and medical personnel are deployed in full force, but time is running out. Meanwhile, the sound of car horns, people shouting, and children crying mixed together into an unprecedentedly heavy atmosphere. Everyone knew a giant wall of water was approaching at a speed of more than 700 kilometers per hour, and it could hit at any moment. At around 10:47 a.m., a strange phenomenon occurred. The entire sea surface off the coast of Shanghai suddenly receded dozens of meters, revealing a cracked seabed and reefs that no one had ever seen before. People stood still. Many even took out their phones to record that strange moment, without knowing that it was a sign of the most terrible disaster. Just a few minutes later, a wall of water over 25 meters high, as huge as a mountain range, rushed straight to the shore. Moving at a speed of more than 700 kilometers per hour, no one had time to react. The first impact was like an underwater atomic bomb explosion. The entire city shook violently. The tsunami toppled tens of thousands of tons of container ships, throwing them onto crowded streets. A series of cars and buses were swept away, spinning in the whirlpool. Skyscrapers along the Huangpu River had their windows shattered. Towering towers began to tilt, then collapsed with a terrible roar. Elevated highways collapsed like Lego blocks. Overpasses and metro stations turned into raging waterfalls. Mobile phone clips recorded screams and desperate cries for help. People ran frantically, trying to climb onto rooftops, cling to electric poles, or anything that floated. But the wave did not discriminate. It swept everything away. In that moment, Shanghai, the city that symbolized China's modernization, seemed to have turned into a raging sea. And that was only the first wave. Immediately after the first impact of the tsunami, the entire world was shaken. International broadcasters like CNN, BBC, and NHK cut into live coverage, showing terrifying images from Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Xiamen. Split-screen news broadcasts all carried the same urgent tone. One of the greatest disasters of the century is unfolding. From surveillance cameras on high-rise buildings, the once bustling streets were now nothing more than raging rivers of muddy water, carrying cars, debris, and people. Blurry, shaky clips captured on cell phones spread rapidly across social media, revealing unprecedented chaos. Screams, desperate cries for help, echoing through the floodwaters. As night fell, helicopter searchlights swept across rooftops engulfed by water. Families trapped on the top floors waved cloths, pleading for rescue. Pilots risked everything to hover over unstable buildings, pulling survivors up one by one. On the ground, hundreds of rescue boats crowded together, battling the violent current to reach those stranded. But amid these desperate rescue efforts, danger lurked everywhere. Submerged power stations exploded, sending out bursts of green light with deafening blasts. Highways caught fire as spilled fuel ignited. Flames and water collided, creating an apocalyptic scene unlike anything humanity had ever witnessed. That night, China did not sleep. It was a night of despair, of fragile hope, and of a race against time, a battle to snatch lives back from the grip of death.
We need to secure the floodgates.
As dawn broke, the true scale of devastation was revealed. From the air, Shanghai no longer looked like a city, but an endless ocean. Only the tips of skyscrapers pierced through the water, standing like lonely islands in a drowned metropolis. Drone footage captured railways snapped in half, entire highways crumbling, and high-speed trains overturned and half-submerged. Giant container ships, tossed inland by the force of the waves, now lay stranded in the middle of urban districts. Industrial zones that had once powered China's economy were simply gone, swallowed by the sea overnight. Reporters described the silence of the morning as haunting. The chaos of sirens and screams had faded, replaced by the sound of water lapping against ruins and the occasional collapse of weakened buildings. Families searched desperately among floating debris, hoping for signs of missing loved ones. Rescue teams, exhausted but relentless, scoured the flooded neighborhoods with boats and helicopters. Economists quickly sounded the alarm. This was not just a humanitarian disaster, but a global financial catastrophe. With China's coastal provinces paralyzed, shipping routes across the Pacific were brought to a standstill. Stock markets opened to panic, energy prices spiked, and food supply chains began to falter. From above, the once bright skyline of Shanghai lay submerged, reduced to shadows beneath dark water. The morning sun illuminated, not renewal, but the magnitude of loss. What had been the symbol of modern China's progress was now a testament to nature's overwhelming power. As the first images of the catastrophe flooded social media and television, the international community was stunned. In New York, the United Nations Security Council convened an emergency overnight session. Delegates from across the globe delivered the same message. This is a global disaster. Humanity must act together. On the ground, international relief teams mobilized immediately. The U.S. Navy deployed aircraft carriers to the East China Sea. Japan dispatched dozens of rescue helicopters and specialized submarines. The European Union sent medical teams and emergency shelters. Humanitarian organizations like the Red Cross and UNICEF established relief corridors, bringing food, medicine, and clean water into the disaster zones. In inland refugee camps, millions of displaced citizens crowded under white tents. Many were still in shock, unable to comprehend that everything they had known was gone. One man, his voice breaking, told reporters, "We couldn't run." In just minutes, everything vanished. Our homes, our friends, our families. Meanwhile, a global economic crisis began to unfold. Stock markets plummeted, energy and food prices surged. Analysts warned that the tsunami of 2025 would not only devastate China, but trigger a ripple effect that could drag the entire world into instability.
Move faster!
Over here! We need help! We're here! We're gonna get you out!
Hold on tight.
Help me! Is anyone there?
In the flooded rubble, hands are still digging, searching for a glimmer of hope. Doctors and nurses are working tirelessly in makeshift hospitals, taking turns to treat each victim. Children are wrapped in relief blankets, their eyes still bewildered, not fully understanding what has just happened. The world watches every moment. Relief teams arrive one after another. Flags of many countries flutter in the wind as a symbol of solidarity in the face of disaster. But amid that effort, the pain is still too great. Millions of families are homeless. Hundreds of thousands of lives are taken in just a few hours. The 2025 tsunami is not just a tragedy for China, but a warning for all of humanity. No matter how advanced technology is, humans are still fragile before the absolute power of nature. The only thing we can do is to be better prepared, to unite more closely, and to learn to coexist in harmony with the Earth.
Guangzhou, China, has been overwhelmed by unprecedented flooding, with the city's downtown district now completely submerged.
Thank you for watching this video on TSUNAMI 2025. The images you have seen are a profound reminder of nature's force and the unity of humanity. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this video so you won't miss our upcoming content.